Hey, Patrick. Happy New Year.
Hey guys, Happy New Year.
I think we have most of the maintainers join us. Let me share my screen, and I just enabled the live streaming from Zoom to YouTube. We have 4 topics collected from the community. Before we get started, first of all, at the beginning of the year, I would like to send my special thanks to every ORAS maintainer who have been diligently working as a maintainer and contribute a lot of efforts to the project and also the community. Makes the community continuously sustainable and available for every user. I'm really be proud of you. Okay, great. Here's the agenda list. We have ORAS Go and ORAS CI patch release discussion. This is kind of the request from a community user in an issue last week. And second, this is a nomination proposal from Shui. Third is actually a flag name discussion. I saw Terry has a different opinion on the formatted output flag. Maybe we can discuss the flag name later and see if there are any potential better name for this flag. Last but not least, we're gonna regularly trash issues because we have almost 1 month for our past activities that are not being well maintained and resolved in the GitHub issues. I think we need to follow up on those GitHub issues and set correct milestone for each issues. Patrick, as you just joined us, do you have any agenda that you want to add, especially related to the ORAS.NET SDK?
I just merged the first PR on the Monday, and I just raised another PR to delete the manifest with subject, and I'm also working on the referrals listing referrals task. So hopefully I will create a PR next week.
Okay. Do you need any help from the ORAS maintainers for manifest delete and other pull request, maybe potential review?
Yeah, it might need Sylvia also with review for the new PR. But so far so good for the task that I work on.
Great. I appreciate your updates. So I think maintainers of ORAS.NET SDK may need to take a look at the pull request in the .NET SDK repository. Okay, let's get started from the first topic. The first one is actually a bug reported by a user from GE Healthcare. This is a user of ORAS who encountered a bug related to the limitation of symbolic links in their artifact path. I can stop here for maybe 1 minute for you to catch up on this issue and understand more context about this issue. Then we can discuss whether we should propose a patch release for fixing this bug. I talked with this user privately, and I was invited this user to this meeting, but unfortunately, he has a conflict today. But his request is to have a patch release to fix this bug. so that can help him to unblock their use case.
Yeah, so Sylvia and I will take a look today. So this fixes should be in the ORAS Go, and once we fix that in the ORAS Go, we will see if we should have a patch release or a minor release. It's depending on the main branch.
Do you mean the release strategy of ORAS Go instead of ORAS CLI?
Yes, we need to update the ORAS Go first and then CLI.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I can give a brief description of this issue. Basically, if there's if the symbolic link file already exists on the system, it cannot be automatically overwritten. It's a bug on the Orasco side. I'm currently actively working on the fix. And the fix will be only on the Orasco side. There's nothing required on the CLI side except for upgrading the Go dependency.
Okay. I also asked this user whether it is acceptable for them if we cut a patch release in ORAS Go and then let this user to use a specific commit of ORAS CLI. I'm waiting for his response.
Okay.
I wanted to bring this up because not only one user reported this bug, another two users from ORAS community, they also reported that they encountered the same issue in their use case. Not sure whether they comes from the same company, but seems this looks like a quite hot bug in the community. So far, this is the latest response from this user. And I will see if they can accept to reference a specific Git commit of Aura CLI. If not, maybe we need to consider a patch release Auras v1.2.3, maybe in the next week to fix the issue and also provide the patch release for these three users.
Can this go into the next milestone instead of doing a specific patch release? I mean, it's a bug. It's not like a security incident, right?
Yeah, it's not a security incident, but consider of the impact of this bug. As you can see, there are three users commented that their environment are impacted by this Symbolink bug. So I'm thinking that whether we should consider a patch release or not. Our next release is actually the Alpha 2 of our CLI. But this user seems still stick with ORAS v1.1, an older version of the ORAS CLI. So I guess they may not be quite willing to upgrade to the latest alpha version.
I mean, so we'll have to backport the fix to, I mean, just be a minor update, right? I mean, just a patch update is what you're saying?
Steven, would you mind double confirm the size of the fix?
Yeah, that's a patch update. No new version introduced. No new feature introduced.
No, but will it be a patch update of Auras Go that we take, or will it be a full minor update or a major update of Auras Go into the CLI?
We need to consider that if we should release a patch version for the bug fix. Currently in the main branch of Auras Go, we already have 3 minor fixes and 1 feature. The original plan was to release a minor version 2.6.0, but it might still take some time, so we can consider release a patch version for the existing 3 fixes plus the 1 new bug fix and some dependency updates.
Okay, the cost is to either patch or have a very minimal Auras Go release as well as a patch of the Auras CLI, right?
I think so.
Yeah, my understanding is that CLI doesn't really depends on the tagged version of Auras Go. We can use a main branch user commits if needed. Is that true?
Oh, yes, that's true. So if you just want to release a patch based on CLI, we can just let the CLI depending on a commit of the Auras Go without releasing a new version of Auras Go.
That is also an alternative strategy. Terry, any thoughts on the release strategy of Auras CLI and Auras Go?
Nothing specific. It just seems you keep on saying patch when it's a bug fix, right? I mean, I think, but no matter.
Okay, I think at least
And
we can.
yeah, no, same. Terry is kind of like, I think he articulated the point better than me. I don't think this is warranting a patch. It's do we know the criticality of the, like, yes, there are 3 users who reported it. Do we have more information in the sense of how we can make this decision?
Sorry, Sajay, could you rephrase your question?
Do we have any more information about the users who have reported it? Like, what is the scenario that's actually getting impacted? This is due to the symlink issue, right?
Yeah. I only reached out to the issue who reported this, the author of the issue, but I didn't reach out to another 2.
Basically, the question here is that is this fix was a patch version? So
Right.
because this one is not a security fix. So as long as it's not a security fix, we can wait.
Yeah, I think security incident is always the top priority, but for those bugs may have critical impact, especially for users who running older version of Auras in production and being impacted by some critical bugs. I think having a backport to previous stable release are also reasonable, right?
The
Because
issue here is that this is not a regression. It's there since the first version. So that means it never worked.
I don't think this is a critical bug. It cannot overwriting the existing file. The workaround is to remove the existing file.
So is there a workaround to unblock these users if we don't have a patch release for these users?
The workaround is that they need to clean up the folder before they pull the file. And if you look at the description, it says for the first pull, it works fine. Just that for the second pull, because the file already exists, the command will fail.
So if they clean their folder and pull it again, this should be worked as usual.
Yes. Yes. It is still a bug, but just not that critical.
Okay, I will try to reach out to the issue author again and see how this impact them. Without a patch release, will their scenario or their production can still be running with ORAS v1.1? I believe they are still running ORAS v1.1.0.
Yeah, I think we can also learn their scenario a bit more to understand if it's possible for them to clean up their environments.
Okay. At least I think we can fix it in the ORAS Go first.
Yeah. Yeah,
I see
I'm
Sajid has a
already
question.
working on a fix and I'm adding the unit tests.
Excellent.
Okay, we just finished the discussion of the symbolic bug and also the release strategy. I will continue to reach out to this user and see their feedback. The second topic is actually a nomination proposal. Shui, would you want to drive the discussion of your proposal?
Sure. So, Femi, can you open the link to the PR? Oh, thanks. So, basically, I'm proposing Sylvia Lei to be a maintainer of the Aura CLI, as she is actively working on the Aura CLI based on the Aura Go. So, I think most of you know Sylvia. Sylvia is a major maintainer of the Aura Go repository, and she also contribute to the Aura CLI repo for 5 PRs merged and review lots of PRs. So here I'm suggesting and nominating Sylvia Lei as the maintainer of the Aura CLI repo. Yeah.
Thanks, Shui, for the nomination. I think based on the community governance process, we have to gain supermajority of the approvals from maintainers. Terry has voted on this pull request, and I think we may need further votes on this pull request. So I think, Shui, you may need to post this nomination pull request in the chat and tag other maintainers like Steve and Andrew Block as an org maintainer who may also need to take actions on the new maintainer nomination, right?
Yes. Since this PR is created by me, I don't need to vote because it's implicit vote. Otherwise, I won't create a PR. And as for Steam Masker, I have a request for a review, and I will add the idea block for the review. And Sergey, if you don't have any concerns, we can just approve the PR.
Okay, let's continue. Let's reserve some time for other maintainers to vote and review this pull request. The third one is actually around a pull request from a new contributor. We have a contributor from India who raised a pull request to add a new flag to the formatted output. I think this flag name, and also the new feature was proposed in a proposal document. Here's the original issue, and it links to the ORAS diagnosis experience proposal. We have been approved and merged this proposal several months ago, and there's a proposal that we deprecate the verbose flag and also make the verbose output being a part of the default output. And for ORAS Discover, it should be, let me scroll down. Here, for the default verbose output of ORAS Discover command, this proposal proposed to make it as a formatted output and controlled by the -- format tree foo. And I saw Terry reviewed the pull request and mentioned that this flag name may not be quite friendly. So Terry, would you mind sharing any opinions on the flag name and maybe any potential naming idea?
Yeah, I don't particularly have a better idea on the name, but it just seemed a little awkward to me. That's about it. And I just made that comment to kind of start the conversation, like maybe someone else has a better idea. And if not, then this name is fine. Names are hard.
Sajid asked, what does the foo mean? Actually, I think I have a sample here. So I have an older version of ORAS, which has the original design of the ORAS Discover output. So by default, if you run the ORAS Discover command, the tree view will be showed in the output. If you add the verbose flag, I use -v here, the metadata of the like annotations will be printed in the tree view associated with the referrals, just like this. So the idea of the proposal is to make this metadata, the verbose metadata in the tree view, to be a part of the formatted output. We can control it by the formatted output, the format command, format flag, and tree foo. So the format tree foo command, the format tree foo flag is used to control the output of the verbose metadata, like annotations of the image manifest. And in the referrals tree view, Hey, Sajay, I saw you just
Yeah.
post a link. Yeah. Would you want
Yeah,
to clarify
I
something?
was sure. I was assuming that we would kind of go through these commands and sort this out, because once we ship tree full, we cannot take it back, right? It'll be very hard to kind of change it. And typically, most recursive or tree walk CLIs and all have a concept of depth. I think the multiple CLI experiences that do that. I would have assumed that we would have something that would control the depth rather than basically tree full means like max depth or walk until everything is over. So would we rather go with the concept of a depth walk rather than um, using something like the tree full? Yeah, I think the name also kind of begs the question of the usability here.
So you think the tree full, the parameter is still ambiguous to you, right?
Yeah, I kind of share Terry's opinion here, which is I don't love it, but we probably need something that indicates. The question is, we have format. What is the default format is tree, right? That's what it means.
Yeah, we have the format flag, and we can use different parameter to control the format of the output, like tree, JSON, or Go template.
Yeah. So if it's tree, wouldn't we rather specify the depth of that as an option?
I see Shui's hands up.
Yeah, so basically, yes, the name of the tree is not good, obviously, but the tree is not about the depth. So it's about the content. So it has more details of the tree view. So
Oh.
it's more like the tree details instead of tree full.
Okay, so that's clearly more than ambiguity. So what you're saying is it's actually got more data per node, not that we are walking the tree deeper.
Yeah.
What
Yes,
is
that's
that,
right.
by the way? Oh, that's the annotations and
Yes,
the value of the annotations.
yes, that's right.
I see. So quick question, why can't we just include this in the default output?
That's a good question. I would like to leave it for Freeman.
What do you mean by the default output? Is the default output of the ORAS Discover, or?
Yeah, I mean the annotations are very important aspects of the manifest, right? So I mean it does challenge it in the sense like it might change existing behavior and whatnot. Is the terse form, the brief, the concise form actually useful in any way right now? Or would we rather have, because think of the Discover output as this is a CLI experience, right? So people are trying to do something with it. Should we just show the annotations in the default output rather than having them
I see.
pass different flags and all that? Because the point of this is not for automation. This is more for usability and readability in some way.
I see your point. So you're asking whether it is reasonable to show the annotations, this kind of metadata, by default in the tree view,
Right.
instead of having a new flag to control it in the default output.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point is somebody is running ORAS Discover. They see a bunch of artifacts that, hey, I know that this is the digest and the media type, but I don't know anything more. So I by default need to go and see the annotations also.
I think from the user point of view, I think the tree view, it is not quite necessary to show the detailed annotations in the tree view. In general, the tree view should briefly tell users that what referrals are attached or referenced the root image manifest.
Right, but what is the use of that? What's the use case? My thinking is that the use case is I can see things like created time, I can see the thumbprint. That helps me choose what the referrals are rather than making yet one more API call to get me. I need to do the same API call to get the same information, but slightly more enriched. I'm just asking here, which is, can we keep an option like, can we just consider the option that the default we show the annotations? Because the simplistic view doesn't really have a use case. I think we designed the simplistic view. I mean, Shuei was responsible for designing Discover, so he had some thinking when he did that, because annotations was not available in the API and you would have to go query more. But once the API got released with saying that annotations are a part of the API, I think it might be easier to give what the API shows rather than, hey, you have to make yet another call with tree full or tree verbose to kind of get the same information. Again, it's just an open conversation, but I like the fact that Terry posted the question, and we can maybe discuss on the GitHub issue. Sorry, can't see hands.
Yeah, maybe we can continue the discussion of the default output of ORAS Discover, especially whether we should include the annotations metadata in the default output or not. And right now, I think it is not quite necessary to show the annotations in the tree view, because this is for terminal users, right? If users really want to get into the details of the annotations, they can use the JSON view to return the detailed annotations.
No, I think the question I'm saying, sorry, Shiva, go ahead. Your hand is raised. Okay, quiet.
Yeah, thanks. So I don't think it's true, Payman, because here, as we selected, this is the image created time, and this information is very important for the human beings, as it can see when the artifact is created. So, but if you want to see this information in the JSON view, the JSON view is not so good for human beings to read. It's hard. So that's the point why we originally have this full version of the tree view.
Yeah, I don't mean that these annotations are not important for terminal users. I just worry about if, in a case, if an image manifest has so many lines of annotations, the tree view might be very complicated, right? The usability of the tree view might be even polluted by a long annotations information in the tree view.
Right now you have a digest. I don't think you can do anything with the digest besides go query that digest. And you have a media type. That's pretty much it. And if you have like a ton of digests, the same argument would hold. Like, what are you going to do with that set of digests? So the terse form doesn't add much value in itself, is what I think. But I might be wrong. So I say, if you see the terse form, what is the use case of that is kind of more something that we need to question. Like, what does the terse form do? Versus, hey, I'm getting all the annotations and I'm getting all the digests. I can actually do something with that information. Like, say, for example, I can actually reason with that. Yes, it might be multi-page, but the same argument holds if there's a large number of digest referrals also. So, but you cannot read them either case. So, but Feynman, to your point, anything that has a large number of outputs is going to be hard, right? It doesn't matter, even if you're getting the manifest. And if the manifest is extremely large, I don't think we can reason much with that. So what's viewable on screen and what's usable on screen is kind of what I'm trying to understand. So, but let's continue the conversation on the issue. I mean, I'll leave my comments on the issue.
Okay. I think we already have an issue for the format tree view flag, and we can continue the discussion of the UX in this issue and identify the most appropriate UX in this issue. After we aligned, we can contact this new contributor and see if he can help us to update the implementation. And also we can update the spec if needed. I will paste the current output of ORAS Discover into this issue and post it in the Slack channel. We can continue the discussion in this issue, okay? Okay, great. I see thumbs up from several maintainers. Terry, thanks for bringing this usability issue out. If you have any ideas, feel free to share your thoughts in the issue.
Will do.
Okay, I think we finished the first 3 topics. Last one is to regularly triage new issues in several repositories. I have seen several issues in the ORAS CLI repo. We have been just discussed this one, so let's skip it. We will see whether we need a new patch release for this issue.
Should we remove the triage label?
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we should remove that. Looking at this issue, I think, Sylvia, you also identified that this is a known bug in ORAS, right?
Yeah, it's a bug on the CLI side.
And looks like this issue already raised a pull request to fix it.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that. Is there the PR?
Here?
Oh, it's this. Okay.
And Terry also reviewed.
Yeah, so we don't think it's a valid fix. So we need to propose a new fix for that.
Yeah, but since this person is willing to commit a fix, we can just guide them.
Yes, as he already raised a pull request, maybe give him or her some instructions.
Do we know the root cause?
Sorry, Shui,
Yeah, we know the root cause.
Okay, that will be easier.
Yeah, I've commented in this issue.
Okay, if so, I think we should be able to instruct this user to fix this issue by him or herself. It's great to see we continuously have new contributors engaged.
By the way, should we remove the question label on the previous issue.
Okay. And this should be by default, it should be in our next release, beta 2, right?
Sounds good.
This one, I believe we tracked this issue asynchronously because I saw the comment from Shui that this is already, or from Sivia, this is already a known limitation in the ORAS Go, that the library does not support the repository level authentication. And it requires a new major release in ORAS Go to support this enhancement, right?
Yes, this one is a feature request. So the major problem here is that the scope registry authentication is supported by tools like Podman and other Red Hat products. So but for the Docker, they don't support it. And currently, ORAS relies on the Docker format and also relies on the Docker credential helpers. For Docker credential helpers, they only support the domain name, which is the registry name. It does not support the registry name plus the namespace and the repo name. So there's a limitation on that. We need to understand the OS model first and try to create a new OS model and be compatible with the Docker credential helpers. Also, we need to do tests with other products like Podman and yes, others, and make sure that ORAS is compatible with those CIs.
Hey, Shui, I just want to double confirm, as this user mentioned that he or her expected behavior aligns with Docker's implementation for the Docker config JSON. And this user expected a fallback mechanism of the authentication checking logic, right?
No, Docker's this implementation of of the config JSON does not support the namespace and the repos. It does support the registry name only.
Only the top level domain without any namespace after the domain name, right?
Yes.
So the user's assumption seems not correct.
Yes, and because of the OS model change, it means we need to redesign the OS module of the ORAS code. That's why it's a major version update.
Is there any standard conventions or like design principles in the ORAS distribution spec define the OS mode, authentication mode?
No, there's no spec. So I have a question for Sergey. What's the progress on the OS working group in the OCI?
The auth working group was actually, I mean, the two parts to it, right? Like this client auth and server auth. I think most of the auth working group was revolving around the server auth side because even that is not documented properly. The client auth is tricky because every client does it differently. But I think many clients have revolved around using the credential helper pattern, right? One thing, I'm just thinking about this issue out loud. Podman, sorry, what was recently donated to CNCF? There was a set
You
of
mean
clients that
whether
was,
are you asking whether Podman is a CNCF project or not?
yeah, there was a bunch of clients that got donated to CNCF recently, right? So as I don't know, I've not looked at the credential model for Podman and Scopio. Do they also follow the same Docker config path, or is there something else? I mean, sometimes the standard just becomes the most commonly implemented thing, right? Like the OCI manifest is pretty much a mirror of the Docker manifest. So what's the model for credentials right now? I think ORAS just followed Docker. Shiva, I know your question is regarding the working group. The working group is going to take a long time, but how can we make progress on this one?
Anyway, we need to have a major version upgrade for the ORAS Go, because currently the ORAS Go OS is designed for the registry name only.
Sorry, I think I lost a little bit of what you were saying. Maybe it's my side.
Just let me repeat. So currently, the ORAS Go OS module is only designed for the registry level. It's not designed for the repository level, and it's hard to add the repository level support for the existing implementation. So that means we need to change the APIs. If we change the API, then that's the ORAS Go v3.
And there's no way to do this without a breaking change, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you just create a V3 credential module and then have ORAS CLI depend on the V3 credential module. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that means we need to have ORAS Go v3, and then we can let the ORAS CLI to invoke ORAS Go v3, while the ORAS CLI can maintain at v1.
Yeah, I don't see any other way because we merged the credential module into ORAS Go, right?
Even if we don't merge the credential module to ORAS Go, we still need to bump up the major version of ORAS Go because of the API is there. I mean the interface.
Oh, and it has no repository pivot. It only has the host name.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Can
the
we
most
bring
important. Yeah, the most important part is that we need to pass the repo information into the OS module. That's the thing we are lacking of. Currently, the OS client is based on the it's purely based on the OS. So it's only got the information of the URL. It does not have extra information about the reference path. So from the URL, it's obviously you can get the registry name because that's the host name. But if you want to get the actual repo name or the namespace name, you need to pass to it. But currently, we don't have the ability to do that.
should this kind of namespace-based authentication model being defined in the distribution spec So such kind of clients, OCI registry clients, can follow the same pattern and implement in a unified approach.
No, there's no spec for that.
Yeah, even the basic spec doesn't have authentication in it. That's why she was asking about the larger working group. But Shui, what's the actual issue here? I'm sorry, I wasn't able to follow. So the path specific key is what they want. They want to use an encoded key or an encoded auth for a specific repo, right?
Yes, so they want different credentials for different repos in the same registry.
Okay. I think this does come in handy when you have even things like multi-repository having different auths, and even on Docker Hub, if it has different repositories with different authentication keys, this would be necessary. Okay,
Yes.
at least I understand the issue.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a common scenario because usually one client only ought to one registry, right? If you are a GitHub user or you are a Docker Hub user, you just want to log on to your own account on one machine. If you want to,
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand that's what I'm trying to say is that I understand what the ask is, but I don't understand what's the actual use case as to why somebody would want to configure that. Have they called that out as to?
I don't think so because Codman and Scope just support them and they use them.
Yeah, looks like they didn't clarify the detailed use cases, but my assumption is that they may have a multi-tenant use cases internally, and they may want to have different authentication for different teams based on their several repository or namespaces.
Yeah, today.
Yeah,
so can we pass in the location of the Docker config for each of these? But they share the same. Yeah, I think the only option is they actually pass in different Docker config locations, right? Or call up a repository because all the calls are against a repo. It's kind of tricky, but sure, your point is right. I think we'll have to. This is an enhancement, and let's kind of find out what the scenario is a little bit more.
Yeah, so if you want to have this enhancement, it has to be built into Orasco v3.
Yeah, agreed.
I think I did have a label for that, right?
We have a v3 label for Orasco.
Yes, and I have commented on that is we needed to redesign the OS module.
For this issue specifically, I can ask the user to clarify more on their on their use cases.
Yeah.
They use a Red Hat Enterprise Linux, I guess. So this should be a big enterprise user. And there's a dependency in Orasco v3. So I think we cannot have a decision on which milestone should we move this issue to right at the moment. So let's see. And I will follow up with this user to ask their clarification on their use cases. Okay. let's continue. I think we have only 2 minutes left. Before we move on, is there any pull request and or any other urgent issues that you have been seeing in the community? If not, I think we can cover the last issue here, the signature verification of ORAS 1.2.2. I think this issue happened because recently Shui changed the GPG key during the release process, and the documentation is not up to date at that time. But recently, Terry raised a pull request to update the GPG key verification steps on the website. So I think this should unblock, the updated document should unblock this user. And Terry, I just reviewed your document, and I think ideally we should have the Shui's GPG key listed in the verification steps.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
I'd update it. So it should be good to go now, hopefully.
Okay. Shui, were you trying to say something?
yes, so yes, I didn't know that we do have the keys listed on the web page. Yeah, so maybe in the future, when the notation block signing is done, we can use the notation to sign and verify the ORAS binaries. Yes. Currently, we use the GPG keys, and we only set the key expiry for 1 year. So that means every 1 year we need to rotate those keys.
Yeah, that's basically how this issue happened. After 1 year, the key is being expelled. I think we can consider the alternative signing tool like notation and cosign and other tools in the future, because GPG signing is not very friendly to whatever, to the users or to the maintainers. Even right now, we cannot automate the GPG key signing process in our release process. We have to manually update the key and also sign the GitHub release access in our release process. And for users, they have to trust an individual maintainer as always, right? Okay, I think we will wait until the notation block signing feature ready. We will shift from GPG key signing to notation in the near future. For this one, I think we remove the triage label. After the PR merged, I will ask the user to validate the GPG key again and see whether this is unblocked or not. Okay, I think we triaged all of those issues that we have been discussed. This one, I think we don't have enough time to discuss it further. We can look at the scenarios described by the user offline.
Yeah, maybe next time we can start from the bottom because that's the earliest issue they then require triage instead of from the top because that's the latest.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Okay. Thank you, folks. I don't have any further topics today, and I think we finished all of those. agenda items. Happy New Year.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Happy New Year.
You guys.
Bye.
Happy New
Bye, everyone.